Welcome to LexiCast, a podcast designed to help you grow in your legal practice, with weekly updates on current topics, trends, and practical insights. Perfect for listening on the go. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to LexiCast. Let's set the scene for today's episode.
It's the last week of June. You've got a pile of unbilled work sitting in your system. 3 invoices from March you still haven't chased. And someone in the office just put a meeting in your calendar called CPD Deadline Reminder. Does any of that sound familiar?
That's painfully familiar. And the thing is, I don't think lawyers are disorganized people. We're trained to be meticulous. But the billing, the tax planning, the financial housekeeping, it keeps getting pushed to the back of the queue because there's always a client matter that feels more urgent. And then the end of financial year hits and suddenly everything is urgent at once.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about how to actually get on top of it. Not just survive the end of the financial year, but use it as a springboard for a genuinely better next 12 months. Whether you're an employee, a sole practitioner, or a partner at a boutique firm, there's something practical here for you.
Let's start with the thing that probably has the biggest immediate impact, billing.
Yes, and if I had to give every lawyer listening one single piece of advice right now, it would be this. Sit down for a day, just one dedicated day, and send out every invoice you possibly can before June 30. Interim bills are your friend. You do not need to wait until a matter is fully concluded to send a bill. If work has been done, bill for it.
And this applies even if you're not running the firm?
Absolutely. If you're an employed solicitor, your job right now is to make sure your timesheets are completely up to date and submitted. Every hour that's sitting in your head but not in the system is money the firm can't bill. Get your expense claims in. Give the firm everything it needs to close out the year cleanly. Think like an owner, even if you're not one yet, because that mindset will serve you enormously when the time comes.
And for sole practitioners, where do you start?
Pull out every outstanding invoice beyond your payment terms and chase it. I know that can feel awkward. There's this perception, and it's frustrating, but it's real, that lawyers are doing fine financially, so clients often let law firm invoices slide to the bottom of the pile. You have to be polite, but you have to be firm. Call it what it is. Cash you've already earned that's sitting in someone else's bank account.
That reframe actually helps. It's not you asking for a favor. It's you collecting what you're owed.
Exactly. I'm wrapping up my accounts for the year and wanted to follow up on your outstanding invoice. Professional, expected, and it removes the personal sting. And pick up the phone. An email is easy to ignore. Lead with the relationship first, then the invoice. Most slow payment isn't malicious, it's deprioritization.
What about clients who genuinely aren't going to pay?
That's a harder conversation, but the end of financial year is a good time to make the decision. Write off what you genuinely can't collect. Take the bad debt deduction where it applies, and think hard about whether you want that client on your books next year. Some clients cost more than they're worth, not just in the unpaid invoices, but in the time you spend chasing and managing and worrying about them. A clear-eyed annual client review is one of the most valuable things a small firm can do.
What about expenses? Is there anything lawyers should be buying or organizing before the 30th?
That's a great question. You should consider whether your office need a new printer, a laptop, any software subscriptions, toner, paper, office supplies? If the answer is yes, and you are planning to buy these things anyway, buy them now. Under accruals basis accounting, which is how most practices operate, an expense is deductible in the year it's incurred, even if you haven't actually paid the invoice yet. So if you can get that bill dated before June 30, it counts for this financial year. And this also means chasing your suppliers. Have you received a bill from your IT provider for work they did in March? If not, ask them to send it. Get all your payable invoices in before year end. The more legitimate expenses you can bring into this financial year, the lower your taxable income and your PAYG payments for next year.
Okay, interesting. Now, for partners at a firm, I imagine there's a whole other layer to this.
There is. Sit down with your partners and look at the full picture, starting with lockup, your total unbilled work in progress plus outstanding invoices. That's how many days of cash is stuck inside your business rather than in the bank. High lockup means cash flow pressure. Some firms sit at 90, 120 days. That's 3 to 4 months of earned revenue that hasn't hit the bank yet.
How do you identify who's actually paying slowly?
Your firm should measure how long specific clients take to pay after you invoice. Once you can see it clearly, you can have a strategic conversation about whether those clients are worth keeping. Also look at how much you've written off as bad debts across the year and compare your actual profit and loss against the budget you set at the start. These numbers tell a story, and the end of financial year is when you need to read it honestly.
That brings me to something lawyers quietly struggle with: understanding their own financial statements.
So common. The two big confusions. First, revenue versus profit. A busy firm can absolutely be unprofitable if costs are too high or lockup is bloated. Second, profit versus cash. A practice can show a healthy profit on paper while the principal wonders why there's nothing in the bank, because the profit is tied up in unpaid invoices. This is why working closely with your accountant matters, not just at tax time. Ask for monthly profit and loss reports. Ask for a balance sheet. Ask them to teach you how to read them.
What about lawyers who are already behind on taxes?
It snowballs fast. Late lodgements, missed PAYG installments, debts quietly accumulating interest. The worst thing you can do is go quiet. The ATO is actually quite reasonable when you approach them proactively. Payment plans, flexibility, it's when you disappear that things escalate. Get your accountant involved today and get a plan sorted. Don't let embarrassment turn a manageable problem into a serious one.
Now, CPD, because we'd be remiss not to.
Here's what doesn't get said enough. The best professional development does two things simultaneously. It makes you better at generating revenue and it's tax deductible. That's a genuinely good deal most lawyers aren't fully taking advantage of. As a lawyer, you shouldn't spend your CPD budget on low-value webinars you half-watch while answering emails. Think about what skills would make you a better, more valuable practitioner. Technical updates, yes, but also business development, financial literacy, AI tools, and claim it all. Keep your receipts somewhere sensible. It's money you've already spent.
All right, someone's done the billing sprint, chased the invoices, organised the expenses. What does a strong start to the new financial year look like?
Set quarterly goals. Not a vague sense of wanting to do better, but specific ones. What does revenue need to look like in the first quarter? What's one process you can streamline? Are there technology tools you've been meaning to adopt? Practice management software, automated billing reminders, cloud-based accounting? The barrier for small firms isn't cost anymore, it's inertia. EOFY is the natural moment to ask, what do we want next year to look like, and what needs to change?
And a budget alongside the goals?
A simple one. Revenue target, salary costs, rent, IT, professional indemnity, the core numbers. Then review it every quarter against actual results. The firms that do this consistently, that honestly ask, did we hit our targets? And if not, why not? Those are the firms that grow year after year. Not because they're smarter, because they're paying attention. And they treat their practice like a business, not just a place where legal work happens.
And actually celebrating what went well too.
Yes, lawyers are notoriously bad at this. We're wired to problem solve. The moment one issue is resolved, we move to the next. But taking a moment to acknowledge what you built, what you got right, which relationships deepened, that matters. Business is a long game. The more you enjoy the journey, the more likely you are to stay in it.
Interesting. So can we sum this up with concrete things that the listeners can apply this week?
First, the billing sprint. Block out a full day before June 30. Send every invoice you can. Chase every overdue payment. By phone, not just email. That one action can materially improve your cash position going into the new year, and it costs you nothing except a day of focus. And if you're an employee rather than a firm owner, your version of this is making sure every timesheet is submitted, every expense claim is in, and your principal has everything they need to close the year. Same energy, different form.
And it's the kind of thing that feels like a lot of effort in the moment, but has a real, tangible payoff within days. What about the second takeaway?
Set your quarterly goals and build even a rough budget for the year ahead. Something you can look at every 3 months and honestly assess. Revenue target, key cost lines, 1 or 2 things you want to do differently. It doesn't need to be long or complex. It just needs to exist, and you need to actually look at it. Having that plan and actually reviewing it is the single most reliable difference I see between practices that grow and practices that stay flat. The ones that grow aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They're just paying attention.
Hopefully there's something in there that listeners can put into action this week, even if it's just one thing. Thanks so much for being with us today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care of yourselves. Bye. That's it for today's episode on LexiCast. If you're looking for more in-depth episodes that can also be claimed as CPD activities, check out our LexiCast CPD page, linked in this episode's notes. Follow us now to stay up to date, and we'll see you next time.